Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to talk about some things that I found helpful in winning solo games this season. I'll be covering tips and tricks for the early game, mid game, and end game for both arena and public matches. I'll have timestamps on the screen now for each part, but I definitely recommend watching the whole thing through. Pretty much ever since the start of Season 8, a lot of people have been messaging me that they've been on a losing streak or that they just can't seem to win games in arena or public matches. This video will definitely help you guys get more solo wins. Obviously though, I can only pack so much info into one video. If you're looking for a great resource that's outside my channel, I highly recommend ProGuides.com, which has some of the best videos on getting better and improving at Fortnite. They have a full course that they filmed with Mongrel himself. The course has a total of 10 different chapters and 33 videos. On top of that, ProGuides offers dozens of other courses, custom stats, tools, and even a 24/7 professional coach who you can literally talk to at any time. They'll work at helping you improve your core mechanics, game sense, and overall gameplay. It's kind of everything you need to get better at Fortnite all in one place, so be sure to check it out in the description link below. You guys know how picky I am with deciding who I want to partner with, so huge shout out to ProGuides for being the channel's first big sponsor. With that being said though, let's get into the video. Solos are definitely the toughest game mode to win right now. It's a combination of everyone getting better and sweating their butts off. I'll admit I'm a part of the problem. It's also because solos are just inherently more difficult. You have no teammates to rely on, nobody to guide you on where to go or just to help you out in general. But there's no reason to be scared. itsJerian is here to save the day and to turn you into a solo god. Last thing before we get into the gameplay is that this was like my 5th game playing on native, which I haven't played on in over 8 months. So if my building and aim looks weird, now you know why. I'm going to talk more about what I think about switching to native and the whole stretch resolution changes in tomorrow's video, but for now just bear with this native gameplay. Anyways, let's first start with the early game, which could arguably be the hardest part of the game to survive. The reason I say that is because, let's be real, early game is heavily influenced by your drop from the battle bus, landing spot, and your RNG. For the arena mode, which is Epic's version of ranked, I like to drop at the racetrack by Happy Hamlet. There's 4 or 5 ballers that can spawn in that area, and if I'm going to sweat and go for a win in arena, you know I'm landing right on top of a ball. I'm not going to be landing on a gun, a chest, or even a house. I'm landing straight on the baller. The reason is simple. Right now, ballers are broken. It's an easy ticket to endgame and get rotations to zone no matter how far away it is. When I land on a baller, I can just rotate to all the small houses with loot around Happy Hamlet. People usually don't land there since there's not a ton of loot, but with the baller, you can rotate to all these houses that no one lands at, and the loot adds up pretty quickly. Arena and pubs play out pretty similar in most of the early game, as we'll see, but the biggest difference is where people land. In public matches, people only drop at POIs that are in the path of the battle bus. So if the bus goes from Pleasant to Happy Hamlet, I can guarantee you there'll be like a maximum of 1 other person landing at Retail Row. Retail has much more loot than somewhere like Viking Mountain, but because Viking was in the path of the battle bus, people will land there and not at Retail. That's the main difference for pubs in the early game compared to arena. People will land anywhere in arena because they know how scary RNG is and the early game is, so they'll land anywhere and everywhere they can to get a safe drop and easy loot. As you get more points, you'll find more people landing with you at baller spawns or unnamed POIs that you drop at. In public matches, if you die, you can just queue again and start over, but in arena, as you gain points, there's a bus fare where you actually lose points when you play a game. So there's an added opportunity cost in arena of wasting 10 minutes and dying and gaining no points when you could have gotten placement points or kill points. That means in arena, people will play safe early game and make sure they can last to mid and late game. To choose your landing spot for arena matches or pubs, just make sure you're comfortable with it and you know all the chests, locations, and floor loot spawns. You should know how many people usually land there. Like if you land somewhere contested like Salty, you can expect a few people landing there as well. The last thing you want to practice and really master is your drop. You want to practice exactly where to drop and how low to drop. You need to adjust your drop depending on where the battle bus goes and also where you're going to land on a house. If you're dropping in the front door, you want to drop lower, or if you're dropping on the roof, you want to go a little higher. If you don't practice your drops and are too high or too low, you'll get beat to your drop spot and have to reevaluate and change your plan. Early game fights are extremely hard. It usually comes down to whoever has more mats, shields, or who can get the first shot off on another person. To negate RNG, try farming immediately off spawn and get some mats if you know someone landed with you. Obviously, that should be after you get a gun though. As you land, you should always be looking around and seeing who's there. You also need to use your loadout to your advantage. So if you land on an AR, you can position on top of a house to get a kill, but with like a shotgun or an SMG, you'll have to rush and get in people's faces to get the kill. After you clear out everyone in the area, you get your kills, you loot up. The last thing you need to do is choose where and how to rotate after seeing where the zone is and deciding what loadout to take. So because in arena I land in a baller and I don't have a ton of loot around me, I just use whatever I can find. You definitely want a shotgun, an AR, and an SMG. Try to get some meds and utility like a Rift to Go. I look where a zone is and I just rotate to the edge of zone to find more loot using my baller. In public matches on the other hand, I don't land on a baller, so I just rotate to zone on foot and wait to make my next decision. You should know of any geysers, ATVs, ballers, or hoverboards near you where you land to make rotating easier as well. Your sole goal for mid-game is to just get to endgame. Mid-game is all about rotations, taking smart fights, or honestly a lot of the time just avoiding fights, and then getting more mats and loot to set yourself up for late game. The way you should play out mid-game is the same for both public matches and arena matches when you're going for a win. The only difference is how your opponents will play it. In public matches, the mid-games will be pretty dead. By the time the first circle closes in, there'll be like 20 to 30 people left, and given how big the first circle is, people will be spread out all over the place. If you're not confident in your loadout or your mat count by now, go and loot whatever you can and aim to get at least 1500 mats. This is for public matches. In arena, you'll want at least 1000, but do your best to try and get 1500, which is max mats. For both arena and pubs, you want to be staring at the map and looking where the next zone is. You should also try to remember where the bus path was. If the circle is near tilted and the bus path went over tilted, you can guarantee there'll be people lurking around still in tilted or just the surrounding area, and probably not too many people rotating into zone with you if you land far away from the bus path like I recommended for wins. Only, and I really do mean only, take fights if you know these three things. First, where zone is and how you're going to get there. Second, if you can secure the kill quickly or not. So is the guy low from another fight, or have you already lasered him? And third, you should know exactly who and what is around you. You need to scout out the area and be sure you won't get third-partied, because that is what the mid-game is. It's literally just you and other people getting third-partied in fights. You have to realize that people are dumb and they will hold you in zone, or they'll push you when zone is across the map. That's why I say only fight when you can secure the kill quickly, nobody is around you, and zone is close. Mid-game is the reason that solos are so frustrating and hard for a ton of you guys. The decisions you make in mid-game can make or ruin your game. You have nobody else to rely on or to make decisions for you, where to rotate and what fights to take. That's why I tell you guys to go for wins. After you play and gain enough experience, you'll start to understand what fights to take and how to make these decisions by yourself. The majority of the player base will make dumb decisions. If you also make a dumb decision, you'll both end up dead and with no points. The bottom line is the mid-game is about surviving, rotating, and making it to endgame. Endgame is probably the start of the 4th or 5th, or even like the 6th circle depending on who you ask and how many points you have in arena. In arena, you'll notice more people are turtled up everywhere just trying to survive and live as long as they can to get placement points. In pubs, you'll find some people in 1x1s, but there will only be like 5 or 6 people left at most. For pubs, your goal is simple: try to kill whoever you can, but also try and survive. Rotations are key, so if zone is far away, maybe you should use the Rift to Go you have, and if it's close, you can probably rotate late and on foot and clean up some kills on the way there. You will learn how and when to make these decisions yourself as you play, and that's again why I suggest everyone to play for the win to learn game sense. The easiest way to win public matches is just to build a 1x1 base 3 stories up in zone on high ground. I know it's kind of an annoying way to play, but if you rotate from there and clean up kills on people, it's easily the safest way to get wins. Obviously, high ground is the goal, but in arena, as you get more points, you'll have 20, then 30, then 40 people in your endgame moving zones, and high ground will be taken. I'll show a quick endgame from a custom match that I ran on stream. Quick aside, but I do stream at twitch.tv/itsJerian, and I host customs every weekend. But as you can see, I rotate with my Rift to Go as the circle is all the way over the mountain. I land on high ground, and then I'm able to basically rain terror on everyone on low ground. There were something like 30 or 40 people when the zone began to move, and you can see it quickly dwindles down to less than 10 as people die while rotating. High ground is the best spot to be in on the map, as I have a top-down view on everyone and can get easy shots off down below. The best thing to do when you're not on high ground is just cover your head, build, and rotate with zone. Remember that while you're playing arena, you get points for placement, so it's 3 points for top 25, 2 points for top 15, 2 points for top 5, and 3 points for the win. What really helped me in learning how to play endgames was to watch professional players like Liquid72Hours and Ghost Bizzle. I know that I always use them as examples, but it's just because that's who I've watched and who I've learned the most from, and who are some of the most consistent and best players in the world. By watching them, you'll pick up on things that they do to get high ground, how they play low ground, or how and when they tunnel or turtle up. All these things come with time and experience, but as you practice and play more, you'll start winning more solos. So to kind of sum it all up, early game, you want to practice your drops and know exactly where you want to drop. Keep an eye out if people land near you, and fight them only if you have enough mats and good weapons or shield, unless of course they push you first. Mid game is about rotations and surviving until end game. Only take smart fights that you can win quickly so you don't get third partied. End game or late game, just do your best to survive and clean up kills. End game is the hardest to master, so watch and learn from pro players. If these tips did help you guys and you start winning more solos, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and to turn on post notifications. Thank you to everyone using my code. Remember that it's code Jerian and not Jerian Grant. I changed it like a month ago now, but someone DM'd me on Twitter confused why my old code didn't work, which I just thought was funny. Otherwise, that's it from me, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later.